the 25th of October. This is Rabbi Lang, substituting for Rabbi Levitt, Pele Yoetz.
So we were up to yesterday. We were talking about Ona, which is a type of going to be fraud, monetary fraud, or at the end we were talking about insulting somebody. That could be a form of Ona, insulting somebody. We read towards the end, but I wanted to discuss it a little. We didn't really get a chance to discuss it. Hi, good morning, Yechiel. How are you?
Good morning.
Left off yesterday, we were talking about it's considered worse. Is it worse to embarrass somebody with words or to anas mamon, to commit fraud? What are your thoughts about that? Why? Can you bring me a proof? Or it says ona twice in the Torah. One is referring to when you steal someone's land, and one is you buy land for you sell land for more than it's worth. And the other type of ona is where you insult somebody. The Gemara gives examples. The Gemara says someone who says to someone who's a ger, who's a convert, he says to him, remember the days when you weren't a convert, or someone had a job, and remember the days when you didn't have a job. Those are examples the Gemara gives, I think. He says people should
Fraud somebody.
What?
I say fraud is worse than words.
Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me, right?
Exactly.
I'll tell you, the truth is that I mean, if you steal money from somebody, you could always return the money. When you insult somebody, it's much harder to rectify what you did, because once you said something, they believe it as the truth. And when you tell them, "Oh, I really didn't mean it," they don't really fully accept what you said, because why'd you say it in the first place?
Why'd you steal from me in the first place?
Over here, the Gemara and Bava Metzia. What?
He's not going to forgive you for stealing from him. You return the money, but he's still going to remember that you stole from him. He's still not going to trust you. He's not going to make another deal with you.
He won't make another deal, but when you steal someone's money, he's not upset at you. He's upset the fact they lost money. You restored his money, so that rectified it.
I've been stolen from.
Yeah. You've been insulted?
I have tremendous animosity towards that person.
You've been insulted in your life also, right?
The Chofetz Chaim says that you can.
I've been insulted, and I don't remember it too well, but I remember the guy who stole from me.
Yeah, the Chofetz Chaim points out that lashon hara can kill somebody, can lead to a murder.
Well, lashon hara is something different. This is not lashon hara. This is onus devarim.
Yeah, well, I think it's on the same boat.
No, it's not. Lashon hara is a completely different avera. Lashon hara is likened to killing somebody, but onus devarim is not.
Truth is that Roy there's a Gemara in Bava Metzia with his daf on daf 59a where it talks about this. The Gemara brings the Gemara about a malbin pnei chavero barabim, someone who whitens someone's face in public, he shames him in public. The Gemara brings the incident of Hamar, who was who Yehuda was together with, and they had a child. or actually twins it was, and she was ready to put herself in the fire. And the Gemara says a person should be willing to put himself in the fire rather than embarrass somebody to say that it came, even though she knew it was from Yehuda, she wasn't willing to admit it. So I think this talks about Anaz Dvarim, and it brings that Gemara up. It says I think Anaz Dvarim is worse than Lashon Hara. You talk behind the guy's back. Anaz Dvarim is you insult the guy to his face. Lashon Hara is you say, I say to somebody else. He has no idea what you said about him. So
no. I'll
Really,
leave
I'm
it
backing
because
you
I
up.
can't. I've read a bit about the Lashon Hara, and it seems to me that Lou is wrong, and but I can't remember exactly how to explain it. So, but I'll just point out that words can kill. Words are worse than anything else. So it's bad enough being stolen from it and so on, but that probably won't lead to a murder. But anyway,
I would much rather have you insult me than steal from me.
mm-hmm.
I mean, it really depends what the insult was. I mean, if it's something which is not true or you don't believe is true, so you're not really too insulted. But let's say the guy says something which really talks about a weakness of a person's character, makes him feel bad, especially embarrass someone in front of other people, like the Gemara says, you embarrass someone in public, you shame someone in public, whether someone's giving a speech or something like that, and there's a whole audience of people over there. And he singles out one person, he says something negative about that person. Everyone starts cracking up and laughing.
I don't think that's Anaz Dvarim. I think that's Lashon Hara.
Oh, it's Anaz Dvarim. Lashon Hara is when I say something to you about Roy. I say
that's
something
Rechilas.
about somebody else behind their
It all
back.
comes under Lashon Hara, Lou. It all comes under Lashon Hara. Lashon Hara is a broad.
Rechilas is when I say. I say to Roy, do you know what Lou said about you?
What did he say?
Huh?
Don't
What
tell
did he
him.
say?
Huh?
Don't tell him.
Yeah.
By the way, Mayor, I like the look. Yeah, nice haircut, shave. You look good.
Yeah, it was about time, and my wife agreed with you.
I didn't say that. I didn't mean to say it was about time, but you still look good.
She doesn't like it when my hair gets too long.
Good you have hair. I mean,
Well, that's true, and you didn't see me in my hippie days, so that's another thing.
I'll tell you the end. He says that the Gemara. This is all from a Gemara in Baba Metzia on Daf Nun Tet, where it talks about this, and it says he also mentions at the end that it's very important not to Anaz Dvarim with your wife. To insult your wife is one of the worst things you can do because women are more easily cry. They cry much more easily, much more emotional than men. So the Gemara says that shouldn't do that. Actually, Gemara in Ksubos, it talks about a rabbi who went away a whole year to learn Torah. He only came back on Erev Yom Kippur. Every year he came back for Yom Kippur. He came back on Erev Yom Kippur, either Sudam of Second, and his wife was waiting for him, and he was coming late. So she started to cry or whatever, and that caused the rabbi to be killed because of the tears of his wife. He hurt his wife. Anything to say about that?
That sounds bizarre.
You're a realist. Who's a realist?
I am indeed very much a realist.
You never had your wife crying? My wife cries all the time.
Never. I've never had my wife cry. In 30,
Really?
33 years of marriage, I've never seen her cry.
That's impossible. That's not realism. That it's impossible. Come on, your wife never cried. You never
That's
insulted
why I
your
don't
wife.
agree with you that women are more emotional.
Gemara says it. What do you mean, Lou? This is the Gemara. This is the Pele Yoetz, he says. Therefore, a person must be cautious in regards to harmful speech, especially in regards to one's wife. Since her tears are near, so too is the punishment for her pain. Baba Metzia 59a. This is the last 3 lines of this.
Metzia 59a.
The whole Gemara there talks about Anas Dvarim. The Mishnah there talks about what is considered Anas Dvarim, things like that. And my personal belief is that I think I agree with Roy. I think that that it is worse to insult somebody. I guess some people are thick-skinned and doesn't, maybe like Lou, and doesn't bother them so much. But most people get it's very personal when you attack someone with words and you say something. You say, I don't know, something, you don't look good, or you don't smell good, or you're not a smart person, or you're a dumb person, or things like that. And if they're partially true, it's very insulting, and it really hurts people, emotionally. Money can always be reinstituted. I mean, you might not, as long as the person returns the money, you'll get your money back. You might never do business with the guy again. You're not going to trust the guy ever again, but at least you have your money back. It's not going to hurt you. If the guy never returned your money, depends how much it was. If the guy stole your whole house and he stole your whole fortune, so then it's going to hurt worse than words. But if he stole a little bit of money, or if he stole a lot of money and returned it, that's my belief. But everyone can have their own opinion. But it does say "oh no" twice in the Torah. It says "oh no." You could even say it's equal. I mean, it says "oh no." It doesn't say which one is worse. It says "lo sona." It doesn't say which one is worse. It just says there's 2 types of "oh no." And the fact that he uses the same word seemingly implies that they really could even be equal, equally bad.
But if the words insult somebody or embarrasses them, it's like killing them. So words can be very damaging.
Right? True. That could. I think like the Gemara says, if you embarrass somebody in public, that could be worse than stealing from a person, because that the Gemara equates Hamal b'nei Chaveru is like you kill the person. You make his face white in public. You kill the person, because that will really plummet his self-esteem. When you kill someone's self-esteem, you kill self-worth. You pretty much put a dagger in the guy's heart, because it's hard to get up in the morning. It's hard to go to work. It's hard to be social with people, especially if it's in your community where you live and someone does that to you. It can be ostracized from the community. I mean, it really is like killing the person, because you lose your self-esteem. You lose yourself pretty much. So I think there is truth to that. It could be worse if you do it in public. If you don't do it in public, you privately insult somebody. So I think there you can say either way, but you could equate them. I would say it's a little worse to insult somebody, but if the guy took all your money and not returning it, maybe then you're a poor person. Could be it's worse than that. All right, let's go on to the next paragraph. Onus, extenuating circumstances. Alan, you want to read?
Sure. What page is this now? Oh, okay. The top of page 79. A wise
Middle of
man said-
79. Onus, extenuating circumstances.
A wise man said that whoever makes a mistake claims that he is protected by the rule of a man who is beset by extenuating circumstances is exempted by the Torah from responsibility. For even the slightest reason, he exempts himself from everything that is good by claiming that he is a victim of extenuating circumstances and is not able to perform the deed. This is either because he likes to rest, to deal in business, has a pain, is weak or is ill, or his evil inclination attacks him and he is not able to vanquish it. However, everyone knows that the claim of these types of extenuating circumstances is useless in the world to come, and the only thing that exempts one is a compelling hardship. The way to differentiate between a compelling hardship and one that is not is by imagining that one has an opportunity to earn an amazing profit. The circumstances is one that would cause him to abandon this opportunity, then he knows that it is a compelling hardship. But to make such a profit, he disregards the circumstances and forces himself by saying, "What can you do? There's profit to be made. One must force oneself. What shall he answer in the day of judgment? He will surely be ashamed and embarrassed. He will not have a mouth to respond, nor a head to raise up. He will be so sorely punished as the master of judgment will impose upon him." About this it says in Mishlei, "If you seek it like money and search for it like hidden treasure, then you'll understand the fear of God." It's a great principle in Torah. The Jewish people's engaging in Torah business has been its source of light. That's the whole thing on.
He talks about this concept of onus, literally means where you're forced to do something or you're unable to do something because of some other reason. He says the difference between knowing what a real onus is and not is whether you'd be able to do it, whether you'd be willing to give up earning money for it, meaning earning profit. I do have a question for you. We say in on Yom Kippur, in the Vidu on Yom Kippur, the first thing we say in Achet ba'ones uvaratzon, that we apologize to Hashem for doing things ba'ones uvaratzon, both that we didn't have a choice and that we willingly did. How could it be that we have to ask Mechila from Hashem for doing things ba'ones? If they're ba'ones, you're not responsible. The Gemara is a famous klal, a famous concept. Ones rachmana patre, that if you're forced to do something or you're unable to do something because of onus, then you're pater for that. For example, some of you learn in the Gemara in Baba Kama that someone who's sleeping or something like that and he injures somebody else, or injures property, he's not really responsible because it's an onus. He didn't do it on purpose. He couldn't stop himself. If someone puts a gun to your head and says, "Do this or you'll die," right? We do it. You're not responsible. Always upon a patre. Nara, more to the famous concept in the Torah is a Nara Morasa, a woman that gets raped. That's the onus is a woman that gets raped. She's not responsible for the Aveira. She doesn't get punished for that. You see the concept, the onus of one patri. See, Torah doesn't hold you accountable for onus. So why are we asking Mechila for it? Why do you ask the first Al-Khaid you say in the long Vidoy that you say on Yom Kippur? You say Ba'ones Uvaratzon. Ratzon, obviously, you understand, but Onus is a little problematic. Why would we be asking Hashem for forgiveness for Onus? Anyone have any ideas? No. Well, based on what the Pele always says over here, there could be an easy answer because I never saw someone with this Pele before. This is a little bit of a new thing I'm seeing over here. He says one of the onus that is not a real onus. He says this is either because he likes to rest, to deal in business, and the pain is weak or is ill, or its evil inclination attacks him and he's not able to vanquish it. However, everyone knows the claim of these types of extenuating circumstances is useless in the world to come. The only thing that examines one is compelling hardship. He says someone who is weak or ill is an excuse and it's not a real onus. According to the Yoetz, you can say he's talking about cases where it's really not extenuating circumstances. We think it's extenuating circumstances. But if we put it to the litmus test of whether we would forego parnasa for it, it wouldn't stand up. We would do it. It wouldn't really be an onus. So you could say, according to the Yoetz, that's what he's talking about. That's what Al-Khaid is talking about. But I have a problem with this Yoetz because the Gemara is a Gemara in Nedarim that says that someone is a chola, someone is a sick person, he is considered an onus. In fact, it's called nidrei ontin. It's called an onus. If a person takes a neder, I'm going to go to a certain person and eat a meal by him. And then he becomes sick. So he's not liable for violating that neder because he got sick. So it's also strange to me that weak or ill, he puts in the categories of excuses, quote unquote. I'll tell you what I think. I'll tell you what I think. You tell me what you think about this. Is that, obviously we know there's a concept of bechira, that a person has the ability to make decisions and to make choices in this world, and that's what makes us unique as human beings. Is that we have that bechira chofshus, we have that ability to choose freely and to choose our course of action. But if you really analyze your daily events and your life, you definitely have that free choice. That's for sure. You have the free choice, but not always able to execute that free choice. Factors that get in the way to prevent me from carrying out my free choice. Sometimes
You're breaking up.
One way, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, a thought.
You're breaking up.
Sometimes you're breaking up.
Yes.
Anyway, a lot of times you have the ability to make decisions, but you're not able to always execute those decisions. You're not able to carry them out because Hashem doesn't want you to do those things. Maybe it wasn't good enough to make the right decision. Hashem didn't want you to have to suffer with that decision. Sometimes we have to make hard decisions in life. Hashem wanted it to be better for you, or Hashem wanted it to be different for you. So we can't always promise that what we decide is going to actually come to fruition. So in a certain sense, I would call it an onus also, in terms of the fact that you don't really control everything that happens in your life. You control your decision. You control, that's for sure. Everyone is gifted. A human being is gifted with the ability to make decisions, and that's our task in life: is to make the right decisions, make the right choices. But we're not always given the opportunity to do that. And Hashem sort of knows that we're not going to be able to do whatever we want. And therefore, let's say you made a wrong decision, right? You made a wrong decision. Hashem doesn't want that to come to fruition. He wants it to work out for you. So it'll change what someone says to you. It'll change something suddenly will happen. The deal will break off or something like that. Hashem will. So let's say you made the wrong decision. Hashem doesn't want it to come to fruition. So at the end of the day, you didn't make a mistake because it didn't come to fruition. And now we say ba'onas, that we're forgiven for onas, for happen against our will, because we made the wrong decision. We didn't do the right thing, but we didn't do anything wrong. But it worked out for us. Mayor and Roy look very skeptical.
No, I'm not skeptical.
No, not at all.
Yeah. All right. I want to. I'm on my phone now, so I want to go onto the computer. So I'm going out of here and coming back in on the computer. Okay.
Okay.
Laka Rabba, Roy.
Wait a minute.
Anyone have a different explanation of to answer the question I was asking? I mean, also there's something in Pirkei Avos that says in Pirkei Avos, Baal Korcha Ata Notzar, you were born against your will, Nivra, or something like that. You're born against your will. It says a lot of things against your will. You're born against your will. You live against your will. You die against your will. You come to dinner in front of Hashem against your will. I believe that it says in Pirkei Avos. It's kind of a strange mission in Pirkei Avos that it talks about. It says your whole life is against your will. I mean, if it's against your will, I mean, we do believe in Mechira Chavshus, so it is your will.
Mm.
That was leading me to some a mission like that, leading me to believe that, also like sometimes you make a decision and then all of a sudden something pops up in your mind. No, that's the wrong decision. Where's that coming?
You're off again.
Oh, you broke up.
Did you have trouble the other day with your Wi-Fi? You had to get closer to it?
That thought just pops up in your mind.
I have no idea what you said in the last minute.
It's happened a couple of times.
If I could hold on. You don't hear me overall? No.
Mm.
You have a yellow marker by your name. Now it's flat. Now it's red. Means the signal's not good. Now it's white. Now it should be okay.
What are you talking about, this marker?
On the left-hand side bottom.
Is this any better?
So far,
Yes.
I would suggest, Rabbi, that when you speak, you lean, like right now, your position right now, that should be your position when you speak.
Okay. Okay. All right, I would like to try to connect this to Bluetooth, but I guess it's not successful, so it just hasn't worked out. I don't know why I'm wearing this in my ear, but anyway, I thought it was a microphone. I guess not. It has a microphone. I mean, it just doesn't connect to Bluetooth. I don't know, to Zoom, to the Zoom program. I guess it uses the default microphone of the computer, not.
Okay. All right. Is someone going to give some wise words, or going to just look at each other?
Should we go on, Rabbi? We can't hear you.
You're connecting to audio.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
All right. Anyway, I was saying before is that sometimes you think something and then another thought pops into your mind all of a sudden. It's like almost, where did that come from? That thought, it leads me to think about this Mishnah in Pirkei Avos, that basically your whole life is an onus, and no matter how much we really think we have the ability to carry out our actions, we're really only given the free choice. I mean, a lot of times Hashem leads us in a different direction than we had planned, but you are given the free choice. Just how it plays out is not always in your hands.
I think that's the exact opposite of what the Pele Yoetz is saying.
How so?
He's saying that people make excuses and they call it, in order to justify their wrong actions, they say, oh, it was beyond my control. And he's saying that's not a good thing to do. You should really take responsibility for your actions, and you should have a strict criteria for deciding that something is really bonus, because most of what you tend to say is bonus is not bonus. It's really your responsibility.
Right, but he's saying it's your decision, meaning when you're a little tired in bed or something like that, you have the decision whether to get up and to go to Shachris, right? You have the decision, or to daven Shachris. You have that decision. That's up to you. Whether it'll play out or not, you can walk to the shul and it's closed, I mean, what can you do then? Or would you consider yourself an onus? What?
Go to another shul.
I say there is no other shul where you live.
Well, then you shouldn't have moved into that neighborhood. You're responsible.
So you should.
You gotta
Okay,
look
so
ahead.
so
You
because
gotta
of
plan ahead.
COVID and COVID closure, so you should move countries. You should move to
Absolutely.
Australia. We should
You
all
are
move to Australia with Roy, because they don't let you move in Australia, right?
You are responsible for everything that happens to you.
There's so many things beyond your control, but I'm saying he's talking about the decision, the point of the decision. That's what I believe he's talking about.
Yeah,
He's talking about the point.
and you live with it.
He's talking the point of decision, meaning if I say I'm too lazy to do this, or I'm too, I like to rest, or I like to deal with my business, I have no time to learn Torah, I have no time to do mitzvahs. The decision is, yes, I want to get up and I want to learn Torah, or I want to do a mitzvah, I want to give tzedakah, or I want to daven, or I want to, I don't know, bench, after I eat a meal. But sometimes you just forget or something like that, you plan on benching after you eat a meal and you just forget about it. It happens to me. It happens to everyone, I'm sure. You just forget about it. So I believe a lot of our life really is bonus, but decision making is not bonus. Decision making is free will. Free will is what we have. It doesn't say free action. It says free will. It's free will. Free will is.
I have covers on my lights that I put on Shabbos.
Okay.
The reason I put those covers on is that I don't make a mistake and turn the light on or off on Shabbos.
Okay.
Now, I don't have to put those covers on. I could say, when I turn the light on by accident, I could say, it's an accident. What could I do? I turned it on. I flicked it out of habit without thinking. It's an accident. But I don't say that. I take responsibility for my actions. I realize that I have a tendency to flip the light on by accident. So I put covers on to protect myself from that. That's being responsible for your actions and not saying, oh, it's bonus.
Maybe you should turn the electricity off in your house. Because maybe you'll take the covers off and you'll turn the light on. I'm saying it's always how far you want to take something. I mean,
That's right.
would you say everyone has a responsibility to put covers on their lights? Every Jew has a responsibility to do that, or only because you have a proclivity to do that?
What the Pele Yoetz is saying is you have to go to the extreme. Ask yourself if you could make $1 million, if you were lost $1 million every time you turned the light on by accident, what would you do? You'd make sure you didn't turn the light on by accident.
You're saying anyone who doesn't put covers in the lights is doing something wrong.
I'm saying that a person needs to take responsibility for what happens.
Of course you have to take responsibility, but how far do you go? I mean, part of life is risk taking, and that's Hashem expects you to take risks in life. You know, if you want to conquer the world, you have to play the game Risk, right?
You always go for Australia.
Exactly, because you always get two armies for that one because no one can get there.
Your ability to make a decision is always governed by the circumstances. Sometimes you want to make a decision, but you can't because it's the circumstances won't let you. But so to a certain extent, you do have free choice, but the free choice is always governed by what's possible.
Right.
You always.
But ultimately, what you're saying, Lou, is making a decision. You chose to put light covers on. You don't have to put light covers on, right? It doesn't say in the Torah you have to put covers on your light. You know, it says maybe you have to put covers on your stove. You have to put a blech maybe, and maybe according to some opinions, cover the knobs of your stove. But I don't think anywhere in halakha says you have to put covers on your lights.
But there are many cases where the rabbis create fences.
But you're creating your own fence. The rabbis didn't create that fence. I don't believe any rabbi says you have to put light.
I'm following their example. The rabbis basically set a tone for us, saying you need to protect yourself. You don't just let things happen. You make things happen. You structure your life. You make your life work out the way you want it to work out. You're not a victim of circumstances. You make the circumstances.
Listen, for everything there is a safeguard, there's also a downside. People walk. Let's say a non-Jew would walk into your house on Shabbos. He would say, "What are these things covering your light?" And you'd be like, "No, it's so I don't turn the lights on." And be like, "That's strange. I know all the other Jews I walk into, they don't put covers on their lights."
Because they're a bunch of sinners.
Sinners? All right, you calling me a sinner? I'm a Russia, huh? I gotta put covers on my light. You You told me I'm a sinner. You said whoever does not put covers on the light is a sinner. I do not put covers on my light. What?
I'm not arguing with you.
I don't know. Listen, yes, it's a decision. What you're doing is a decision. You're making a decision that you feel is important. You know,
We have the power to make decisions.
right? Exactly. That was the decision you're
When the
making.
decision comes to fruition is in Hashem's hands.
Exactly. So that's why that's what I was suggesting why you would ask forgiveness for onus over ratzon is because of that scenario where you actually made a wrong decision. You're asking kapara for the wrong decision that you made, even though it worked out and you didn't do anything wrong. You didn't do an avera. Let's say, for example, I don't know. You planned 1 year you're not going to eat matzah or whatever, and then I'm not talking about a religious person. And then all of a sudden you go to someone's house, you're invited to someone's house, and they're serving matzah, and that's what everyone's eating. They're eating matzah, so you eat some matzah, but you didn't plan on eating it. Your decision was you didn't want to eat it. You just did it because social pressure or whatever. So maybe that's what we're asking forgiveness for the onus, meaning even though you did the right thing, you ate the matzah, but your choice was not to eat the matzah. So you're asking forgiveness for that choice because you can't somewhat.
Sorry.
What are you saying, Roy?
No, sorry. Keep going.
That's all I'm saying. I'm saying sometimes in life, we don't make the right decisions, and ultimately that's really what we're asking forgiveness for. We're asking forgiveness for wrong decisions. Ratzon is when we make a wrong decision and it actually comes to fruition. Onus is we make a wrong decision and it doesn't come to fruition. We're still responsible for the decision.
So you can have extenuating circumstances. Means that I've got to cover the lights. Why? Because I have extenuating circumstances that I might turn them on. Could look at it sort of like that.
You're saying you're backing up Lou.
No, I'm just saying.
Don't accuse him of that.
Beg your pardon?
Accuse him of that? You're supposed to be your best friend, that Lou. You're supposed to.
He is my best.
So it's you can turn it upside down as well. So basically, it's common sense and how you feel.
So everything has an upside and a downside to it. There's no decision, however minor it is, that doesn't carry consequences or implications. And even a safeguard, there's negatives, there's downsides to it. But if Lou's rabbi told him that it's a good idea to do it, so it's a good idea for Lou to do it.
My rabbi never told me that. I came up with it by my own.
That was the worst idea, Joe. Now, and listen, if you decide, that's your decision. I don't know. Only God knows whether it's the right decision or not. But all I'm just pointing out is there is a possible downside. Every chumrah, everything that you take upon yourself more stringently, there's always, the Gemara says, chumrah shemevi lidei kula. It comes to lenience in another area. You might not turn the lights on Shabbos, but it might offend some people that come into your house and say, why is this guy so frum? He's such a frum guy. This guy covers his lights.
You have to be careful that this sort of thing can't lead to extremes.
Right. Also, that's another thing. I mean, if you don't have control of yourself, you can start ostering everything, like Mayor's example about going to somebody's house and the peas and carrots and things like that. If you don't know the halacha, you won't be able to get anything on the plate. Okay, we're gonna move on to the next um, next page, page 80. We're dealing with we got the letter Bays. Special privilege. I have to get the letter Bays with you, considering my name is Ben Sion. Apropos. All right. What?
It's very good.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, I was considering just stopping the shear, but I'm like, I gotta promote my name a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So I gotta get the Bays in there. I'm joking. All right, let's go on. Letter Bays. Lou, you want to read brachos?
Certainly. The statement of our sages regarding the severe punishment for one who benefits from this world without a blessing is well known. As a result of misconduct, this plague has spread among the masses, such that many people eat and drink without a blessing. Some of them due to lack of the basic knowledge of the need to make a blessing, and something from which they have pleasure. Others due to their ignorance of the formulation of the blessings, and still others due to lack of diligence. Our hearts are pained at the awful sight when one goes to a festive and joyous event. The house is full of people, and they honor their guests with all kinds of sweets and drinks. And so many people put the sweets and drinks into their mouths without a blessing. The heart of one who fears God is distressed by the offense and by his inability to protest. He is embarrassed to say, "How can you eat without a blessing?" As a result of delinquency, we have stumbled in the mistake of one who does not protest for the sake of the honor of his great name. Instead, he makes his blessing in such a loud voice that everyone will hear and know that they need to make their own blessing. However, they do not pay attention, as if the requirement of a blessing was not intended except for sages and saints. It is proper to reprimand them in this regard. Perhaps they will take heed and realize that there is nothing in the world from which one has pleasure upon which he does not need to make a blessing. If it grows on a tree, its blessing is who creates the fruit of the tree. If it grows from the ground, its blessing is who creates the fruit of the ground. If it is neither from a tree nor the ground, its blessing is that everything came into existence by his word. If he does not know the nature of the food and he has no one to ask, the blessing is shehakol. The blessing of shehakol suffices for everything.
Yeah, I want to point out, anyone have a line there that really tugged at them, or I'll tell you an interesting thing that seemed to me. He seems to say over here that besides not making a bracha, a blessing, obviously, which is, the Gemara says someone who eats something and doesn't make a blessing, it's like he steals from God. He says also people who make instead he makes his blessing in such a loud voice that everyone will hear and know that they need to make their own blessing. However, they do not pay attention that the requirement of blessing is not intended except for sages and saints. You ever hear people that Baruch Ato Asher Okeinu Melech? They're really slow and really loud. Maybe some of you people do that. I don't know, but
when I enter shul, I usually go to shul early. There's one fella there when he puts his talis on, does that. Maybe he does it for other brachot too. I don't know, but that he certainly does. Very deliberate.
I agree with the Pele Yoetz over here. He says the reason is because people who hear someone make a bracha like that are going to think it's only saints make brachas like that. Only saints are supposed to make brachas and not regular people.
I knew someone who told me that he was not born religious, and he had a friend whose grandfather was religious, was Orthodox. And one day they were over at the house, and the grandfather finished his meal. He had had a sandwich with bread, and he benched. And this person was so impressed by the benching of the grandfather that he ended up becoming Orthodox as a result. He was makarabed by the grandfather's benching.
You never know what turns people
He
on.
didn't say how he benched, if he benched loud or soft or slow or fast. He just said the way he benched was so impressed me that I ended up becoming religious as a result of it.
Yeah, you never know what turns people on.
That's right.
Last thing to do.
That's why we should set an example for everyone, you know, by saying brachas and the way we behave and act.
That's what one of my sons said. You do by example. For you.
I believe the Pele Yoetz is saying that to say a bracha, you should say it with intent, and you should say it with understanding what you're saying and things like that.
Wow.
He's just talking. What is his language over here? He says in such a loud voice. He like shouts it out, you know. What's the right word for someone who does something like that? It's like superficial is not the right word, but it sounds like I guess haughty or something like that. I don't know. It's
Overboard.
overboard, exactly. You make a bracha, you say Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam shehakol niyeh b'dvaro. I mean, it's not that complicated. It shouldn't be so complicated, right? It shouldn't be like that. I believe he's right about that. You know, I'm gonna have to overdo it. Listen, God can hear you. Even if you say Baruch atah Hashem. You say very whisper it. Hashem's gonna hear you. I'll hear you.
But I think you're missing the point. His point is not he's not discussing how you should say a bracha. His point is how you should rebuke people who don't say brachas. And he's saying, by saying your bracha loud and slow and blah, 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 you're not going to succeed in what you want to accomplish.
You're right. I agree with you. That is what he's saying. That is what the Pele Yoetz is saying over here. But I do think what I'm saying is true. I mean, that besides for the fact that you're not going to accomplish someone to follow you, even if no one's following you, I think the normal way to say a bracha is just say it like you're talking. I believe the same thing for like Shemona Esrei or things like that. You know, for me, like I go to shul and Shemona Esrei can go on for 10 minutes. I mean, it's a long time. I'm usually one of the first people finished, and it's just like I don't read the words overly fast. I just read the words. I say the words. You know. It's just like
you have to have proper kavanah, and having proper kavanah means, number one, you are aware of before whom you're speaking. You're speaking before Hashem. You're speaking to Hashem. You have to understand the meaning of each word that you say. You should have no distractions. You shouldn't be looking around the room. You should be focusing on a sitter and reading the words carefully from the sitter. And you should be saying it with devotion.
I agree with you on all those things, but sometimes it has the opposite effect. I know personally, there were many years in my life I used to say Shemona Esrei for 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes. I can't say I have more kavanah then than I have more kavanah now. I mean, it's just like, it's so hard to have kavanah. It's so hard to focus on davening. When you're davening, your thoughts are always flying all around. They're flying into outer space. I don't know. I think everyone who davens has the same feeling as this. If they're frank and honest about it, you can try to have kavanah. It just doesn't work. You could try. You could say the words for 2 hours, and your mind will be all over the place.
Well, it's something you have to work on. You have to try and improve your kavana every time you daven.
Right. I've tried for many years. I can't say it really helped, to be honest with you. Never really got anywhere with it. All right. So anyway, anyone have anything else to add today? Anyway, I'm gonna leave my YouTube link in the email, in the chat. I mean, I just put it there. If anyone wants to go and check it out, hopefully it'll work. I enjoyed learning with all of you, and I hope that you'll have a good rest of your life. I don't know if I'll see you again, but it's fun learning with you. I enjoyed learning with you, and for me, it was a nice experience. I never really, to be honest with you, I never really taught anybody. I think one time when I was like 25 years old, I was like a Rebbe in a camp. I taught like 4th graders or 5th graders or whatever. They weren't really paying attention, so it was nice that people here pay attention.
Well, you
So-
said you have Daf Yomi, so that's teaching people.
Well, it's not really a live share. I don't really talk to anybody. It's just in front of a camera. I put it on YouTube. People watch. It's not really interactive. So it's not like face to face, where you're talking to people. So
No, enjoyable having you.
Yes, thank you very much for.
you guys enjoyed me, or you enjoyed it, or you didn't enjoy it?
Enjoyed it very much, yes.
All right, good. I know we may enjoy it. Lou, me and Lou, we butt heads once in a while. So I think Roy didn't like me at first, but I think he got used to me.
Roy likes everybody.
Yes.
All right, so we're gonna end this year now, and I guess whoever stays for the Gemara, I'll see them then.
Okay, very good. Be
All right.
well.
Thank you very much.